Hey y'all, Quabila Jones here, host of the Q Spot podcast. Make sure to be intentional with your words, your thoughts, and your actions. And please subscribe, like, follow, share, and hit the notification bell. Hey y'all, QB here, host of the Q Spot podcast. I am back with another video series. I have a very special guest with me. Of course, all my guests are special. I love them all. With this one, I'm really excited to talk to Mrs. Candence Brooks. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yes, this is our first time actually chit chatting. Like we, interact in other social circles, but like this is the first time one on one.
It is.
Yes. And so, as y'all can see, this topic is scrolling across the bottom. It's boss up, getting your business started. Like, it's time for you to be your own boss. But hey, there's some steps you got to take. It's not just, I want to start a business and boom, I want to make money. Like, there's some stuff in between. And we're going to get into that. And Ms. Candace, Mrs. Candace was so gracious to send me a link to a very informational source. It is from the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center. And so, but before we get into that, I want Mrs. Brooks to tell us all about who is Mrs. Brooks.
So I'm here in the capacity tonight. I'm a business consultant for the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center. That's a mouthful. In short, we call it ASBTDC.
Okay.
We have 10 offices across the state of Arkansas, and our office is in Jonesboro. So I'm at the Jonesboro office at Arkansas State.
Okay.
And so I've been serving in that capacity for over a year. I'm also an entrepreneur myself, and me and my husband are getting ready to launch a new business called Take One Performance. I'm also a real estate agent licensed in Arkansas. Let's see, I serve on the board of Over a Cup, which is a nonprofit that caters to Black women entrepreneurs in the East Arkansas. So several things. Also, I'm a wife and I'm a mother of 3 beautiful children.
Now,
So
can you
that
say boss up for real?
I don't have time to sleep.
Like, okay, when do you sneak a, like, okay, time to go.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Oh my goodness, so pretty. Well, I want to thank you for giving me your time tonight. So I'm going to make valuable use of this time. So let's just jump right into starting a business. Some people think, oh, is glamorous, being your own boss, making money, and no. What are some of the misconceptions you have run into or, experience with people telling you, oh, I want to start a business? Like, what are some things you've heard that you want to dispel, like right off the
Yeah.
top?
The first thing I would say is people think like, okay, I'm gonna start my own business because I want to work for myself, and that's good. But also, then I say, okay, are you working full time? And they say yes. I'm like, okay, don't quit your job yet. And I say that because sometimes it takes more to get that business off the ground than we also, than we think. So sometimes you have to have that actual full time or part time job to fund your business to get started. And so one thing I say is that's great if we think we're gonna make 6 figures out the gate. I'm gonna be ready to roll, and that's awesome if that does happen. But in reality, sometimes that does not happen as soon as you open a business. And so the reality is making sure that you understand what that financial implication is whenever you're getting started. And so that's one thing is don't quit your job right away if you don't have to, because you still need to have funds to live because your business is like a baby. And so it starts in that infancy and it takes time to grow. Some grow faster than others and some take a little time, but you know, that's one of those things that I think that people
Um,
misconceive or misconstrue with that.
okay.
Also, one thing that we run into is when people say, okay, I might start a business, where are the grants? And
Hmm.
I get this all the time. To say, I'm gonna get a business grant. That's awesome. There are grants out there, and but also grants are very competitive. And so, um, people are afraid of loans, and everybody doesn't have to get a loan, and you don't have to get a loan. But also, there are ways for you to get that to get your business off the ground versus trying to write for a grant that's highly competitive. And also, the same qualifications a lot of times that are required of a loan, besides putting a down payment. But with a loan, it's the same thing for a grant. They're going to ask for your business plan. They're going to ask for your projections, your budget, and everything. And so I always say, let's start with the very basics. Let's start with the foundation of that. And when you see a grant that you want to go for, great, because now you have that basic blueprint that you're going to use, and you can get a loan, you can get a grant, you can do whatever you need to do with that. But let's start with the basics first.
Okay. So I'm gonna go under services because I was looking at the website again. Well, no, not again because I never listed it. Sorry. The website is asbtdc.org, and I'll
Mhm.
make sure to put that in the link or put a page up so that you all can find it. So under services, there's overview, plans, purchase, startup, expansion, growth, and hiring, financial, marketing, specialty services, and tech commercialization. So first, I want to go through plans, and we're not going to go through every single thing because we want y'all to go to the website and look it up for yourself, or get with the consultant, Mrs. Brooks. Should be happy to walk you through some of these things. Oh, we're going to talk about events. Look, I looked at the events calendar. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so let me calm myself down. We're going to start with the business plan. Okay, when I looked at this, I was like, okay, yeah, I got some work to do on my end. Like, there's so many different little bullet points and questions that you
Mhm.
need to tackle. So let's walk through a basic, and I know a basic business plan,
Okay.
if that's such a thing.
Yes. So um, there are business plans where people say, okay, I don't have 20 pages. You don't have to write a 20-page business plan because one, sometimes it doesn't require all of that because your business does not take 20 pages to describe, and two, a lender is not going to read that business plan at 20 pages. We don't have time for that. Now there are business plans that can be a one pager, they can be 2 pages. The main thing is making sure that you are answering the main thing, and that is, what is the name of your business? How's it going to operate? Are you the only owner? Are there partners with that? How's it going to be structured? Also, what is your product? What is your service? You know, um, Sometimes I get people who want to start businesses and they spend too much time on, well, this is my passion, this is my heart. That's great, but how are you going to make money? Because again, you don't want to have something that's an expensive hobby. And so I always say is, how are you going to make money? Because that's what you're in business for. If not, it's just a hobby. And
Hmm.
so I want to make sure that we're having that conversation to where you're being able to turn your passion into a profit. Um, because we're not going to waste anybody's time. And I want to have those frank conversations with, let's make sure that we're doing this from a standpoint of making a profit. And so, um, also looking at the pricing. So, what are you going to charge for your product? Is it going to be too high? Is it too low? What are your costs that's going to take if you have an actual physical product? How much does it cost to actually produce that? Because if your profit margin is too low, then you're like you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
it cost me $20 to make this, and I'm only making a profit of $2 after I've paid off the cost to produce it.
Hmm.
So, um, for one, it depends on the industry because there are certain industries that may have different profit margins, and we can go more in depth based upon what type of industry that person is going into. So we have market research, and we'll get into that as well. Another part of the business plan is, how do you plan to distribute it or promote your business? Marketing is one thing that is so broad, but also it's often overlooked, and so
Okay.
people haven't spent time on who is your target audience. And do not say it's everybody. Your target audience is not everybody, okay? Yes, you will sell to whoever wants to buy, but also you do not want to waste your marketing dollars on the entire world. It does
Yes.
not make sense. So we have to spend a lot of time. They call it building an avatar, or for me, I'm just saying, who's your target client? Who's buying your stuff? And then sometimes we get confused and like, this is a children's product. Okay, is that child the one coming in the store buying that product? Then that's not your target. audience. Your target audience is the parent, is the person who's going to spend money and get your product. So we have those fun conversations, sometimes it's a realization like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's a good target audience. I'm like, yeah, I know. As a business consultant, literally what I'm doing is I'm just asking those hard questions that maybe you haven't thought of, or I'm asking, have you thought of it from this perspective, or does this make sense? It's basically, let's just have a conversation. I'm just your conscience in the flesh.
Okay. Okay. No, I'm probably jumping the gun here, but and the name of this type of group escapes me. But when people, we see this often when a new TV show comes out, and the station will just gather a random group of people, let them watch maybe want the pilot episode, and they get their feedback on,
Focus group. My focus group.
focus. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Would you suggest, or is that even necessary when you're starting a business to have a variety of demographics of people? Just kind of either test the product, look at the product, see it, look at the product, the mission, pricing, like just all of that.
I think that there are focus groups that are necessary for different industries
Okay.
and different products. I say that because a lot of times our focus groups, we have to be careful with who we're selecting, because obviously we're being, biased to our own product. So you can't have your whole family and friends in there. You don't need everybody who's going to tell you yes.
Okay.
And then, oh, this is a great product. I don't see anything wrong. You need people who are going to be honest with you. And then also, one thing we do is market research. And so we have access to a lot of databases that talk about, is there a market for this type of product? Or where is this product heavily saturated? Or does this product match the demographic of what, where you're trying to locate or where you're trying to sell that product? And so market research is very important for whenever you're trying to determine even location. If you're trying to have a certain headquarters somewhere, or, even looking at traffic count, we do a site compare where it's like, okay, I should not be on, this part of town. I should be on this part of town because of my price point. And so if I'm trying to target a demographic that is on a higher scale in terms of income,
Mm.
be located closer to that type of audience where they live. Also looking at the type of product. Is it a lifestyle product? Is it something that you're going to sell mostly online? So you can have a focus group. I went all the way around it to say is yes, and also it depends.
Okay.
Focus groups can be productive. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just go right into, well, real quick, I just want to mention that on this website, there are links to sample business plans, business planning printables, business model canvas. So there's so many tools and resources on this website that you can utilize before you even go see the consultant.
Right.
At least have some of the groundwork done, and then the consultant will help you fill in the blanks and erase and fill it, just
Yeah.
finalize and revamp everything. So don't be afraid to click on the links and just try to walk through the paperwork yourself. And um, I haven't done it yet, but I
Okay.
definitely plan on trying it because I have a business. Well, it's not. Long story short, I have a business name and business, but it's not out there yet because there's some other things that need to be done. But anyway, that's
Gotcha.
just me. But
Baby, it's okay. You're gonna grow it.
yes, ma'am. So let's talk about let's talk about let's go ahead and go into marketing. And you mentioned how first you need to know your audience. Who are you going to advertise to, um, and the different ways to advertise. And so you mentioned okay, looking at where someone is, where the traffic is. Like there's so many different facets to
Mhm.
this thing. So can you help us out to understand one thing that's on the page when you click on services and marketing? It asks, should I buy an ad on online ad? Do I need to spend money on direct mail? And there's two questions they propose you ask yourself. Who are my target customers? Like you mentioned, why would they buy from me? So those are two questions to kind of ask yourself. And so let's get into though we see so many different businesses online. Let's just take Instagram. We're just gonna stick with Instagram
Okay.
and TikTok. Those seem to be the most popular online social media right now. But you see, there's so many sites for either nails, and I'm in the nail business, but that's another story. But hair extensions, lashes, lip gloss, you know, cosmetics,
Mhm.
skincare. So let's talk about how can somebody maybe set themselves aside, like apart,
Mhm.
and still provide a service somebody wants them. Yeah.
So I'd say determine your unique selling proposition.
Mhm.
So what sets that person apart? And then a lot of times people will come to me and they'll say, what is my unique thing? I can't tell you what your
Okay.
unique thing is. We can talk through that because I'm going to ask that question. But I think that they're looking for a magic wand, and I don't have one where I'm saying, well, I think that you should do this. Now, what I will say is through conversations, because I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I'm going to ask, what is your passion behind your product? What drives you? What problem are you trying to solve? What does your actual customer look like? What do they drive? What do they wear?
Oh.
So, I mean, we're going to get deep into that because that paints that picture. And so now when you're seeing that, because if that person is driving a luxury vehicle, then that means you're okay. This is a high dollar item. It's going to be a higher quality. And so now you're like, okay, so I'm positioning myself in a market where my product is higher quality and it's going to cost more. And so I may be where my ideal client may be on LinkedIn. Sometimes they may not be on Instagram. They may be on a more professional website where those people are making more money. They're executives in higher level corporate positions, and they have that disposable income to where they can pay more for that. And so just because you have all these different social media platforms that are available, that doesn't mean that that's where you should be for your business.
Okay.
Um, and so there's like a younger demographic. They are on Instagram, they're on TikTok, they're on Snapchat. Older audiences tend to be on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn. Um, and so again, it goes to what problem are you solving, and then what's your unique selling proposition. And so setting yourself apart really is going to take some internal things. It's like, okay, I'm the face behind my brand. At some point,
Hmm.
you gotta step in front of that product and say, this is this is me, this is my company, and this is the product, and this is why I feel passionate about it. And then we can go into a whole different thing of, okay, now I'm going to work with influencers, or I'm going to do event marketing where I'm just going to have different causes and things that I'm going to invest in. I'm going to be a sponsor there, or I'm going to put on different events that are going to bring more awareness to my different product or my service. So again, a wide range of things that we can discuss, but it all goes to what sets you apart, what's unique about your business, and then we'll have that conversation. I'm going to get all in your business, and so that's how it goes. But at the end of the day, it's like a whole family. We have a whole conversation, we have a relationship, and then
Okay.
I say, okay, so here's your homework. So
Alrighty.
based off what we discussed, here's what I'm seeing. And because I don't want that relationship to feel stuffy.
Okay.
I'm like your business best friend. Let's call it that. And so sometimes I have clients that text me and say, "Hey, girl, it's a bad day," and I'm like, "Okay, tell me what happened. Step away." So because we got to regroup. It's that's your baby again. Sometimes we don't like our babies. That's an unpopular thing to say, but sometimes we don't. So it's like, okay, leave that baby in the other room and come back for a minute, regroup, go back to it. Same thing with business, and so that's the analogy I have to use sometimes.
Okay. Um, I pulled up an article. We're going to talk about in a minute how, you know, okay, so you start your business and you're seeking funding and you're seeking, resources of all kind, exposure, and you get declined. And so we'll get into that when we talk about women in business.
Mhm.
But I just want to go through a few more of the resources that are available on the website. And so let's talk about the tech aspect. Um, Tech commercialization. What does that entail?
So that's the technology component.
Okay.
of what we offer. And so we have a consultant that is based in our Little Rock office that specifically works for people within tech. And so there may be a certain intellectual property or intellectual technology. It could be anything as you're developing an app. You could be developing
Oh,
a new technology where you're improving. It could be improving a plant or improving a seed or anything centered around like innovation, technology, things that are like way above my head. We have someone who assists,
okay.
also assists with the funding to help you get that. And so what we do is if I have a client that comes in and has that type of idea or business that they're looking to do, we collaborate with that consultant who specializes in that type of funding because there's grant money that is tied to that as well.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'm looking at this at the page. It says who we serve, what we do, financing, alternative financing, business planning. So again, you all, there's so much that's available at your fingertips. And again, there are consultants who are ready to help you and walk you through whatever steps you need. So let me ask you, if someone says, Candace, I'm ready to start serve it. I'm ready to, start my consultation. What does it look like? And then what is the suggested time frame that someone actually spends time with you as they're building their business?
So that's going to depend on the client because some people I will have to come in and say, hey, I'm looking to start. I just need the first little steps, and they're like, got this, we're good to go. And so we can have their business set up in a matter of a week. And then
Okay.
some may come in and they're like, look, I need from beginning to end. I need you to walk me through every little thing. I work a full-time job. I only have 30 minutes. I can meet with you on lunch. And that's fine. And so, and the time I will always say it's going to depend on the client. And
Okay.
I don't put a deadline on the clients because it's ultimately it's them that's creating that business. It's them that's going to have to run that. And so when we meet and I say, okay, so here's our assignment. An assignment may be, you need to research 3 competitors or
Oh,
you pull some market research based off of, this, that, whatever factors we're looking to pull some research for. Or they may have to research about, how much is my business insurance going to be? Or is there a certain manufacturer that I need to go with? Or is there if it's a food item, so you might have to find a kind of like a ghost kitchen or
okay.
a commercial kitchen that you need to work with, which we don't have one in Jonesboro. So obviously, um, we have to, get creative. There's a place in West Memphis, and then there's also places in Little Rock and Northwest Arkansas. So again, I say all that to say it takes time to do different things based off of what they're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
They may be researching a different place that they're trying to locate their business, and they have to talk to the real estate agent, to get information about how much is that lease or how much is that place going to cost. If they're looking to build a building, then we're going to get estimates about how much is that going to be to build, because we have to get all of these costs so that whenever they're ready to go to the bank, then I'm going to have you put together your projections and a loan package so that we can go to the bank and we have an actual budget that is like, okay, to the best of my ability, here's what I've estimated that I'm going to need to start this business. Because we don't want to under borrow, because that's wasted everybody's time and you still don't have enough money to start the business. And so that doesn't make sense. Um, so timeline wise, I usually put it back in their court. I say, hey, what is feasible for you? Do you need me to reach back out? And I'll automatically reach back out within a couple weeks anyway. But if they say, I'm going to have it to you in a week, I say, okay, I'll see you in a week. Or they say, I'll have it the next day. Okay, I'll see you in a day. So I always put it back in their court. But then there's an accountability factor when I say, okay, what's next? When can I expect to get this from you? And then for some reason we clam up like, oh, wait a minute. And I'm like, I'm not grading you. There's no grade connected to this, but there's an accountability thing. And so people say, I need that. I need you to reach out to me in a couple of weeks because it's like, oh, I knew that email was coming. Um, so that timeline, it can take you a week. It can take you 6 months. It is up to you. Sometimes it's not up to you. Some factors that fall out of your control, but ultimately it's how fast you want to go.
Okay. Awesome. And then so I know that some people get caught up in some people, it's me, we get caught up in creating a logo, creating, this brand identity before we even have anything else on the paper. Like, I know that's important, but it's also kind of secondary, in my opinion. So,
Mhm.
can you give us some insight to people you've encountered? Like, they come to you with this whole brand, this logo, this, but they still don't know exactly what they want to do.
There's nothing wrong with that. And I will say, because sometimes you need that, that's your motivation. It's like,
Okay.
oh, I just see this logo on buildings. So, oh, I just see this on the shelves of, large department stores. And that's great. And then I will come back and I'll say, okay, how do we get this product? Let's back it up. How do we get this product on the shelf? What does the business plan look like? Now let's look at the budget. So it's
Okay.
okay if you have that beforehand, because I mean you still can't start a business if you don't have A, B, and C. And so I'm not gonna say you jumped the gun, you went too far. No, there's no such thing as that. It's just, let's just come back and fill in the blanks for
Okay.
before we can move forward. I always say your business plan and your budget and everything, that's like your blueprint. So it's like building a house. You can paint the walls, you can repaint them, you can put down some new flooring, you can tear down this wall and put up another one, so you can remodel, you can rebrand anytime you get ready. But if you don't have that blueprint, you still gonna be stuck, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, girl, yeah, make your logo, have your branding and stuff like that. And because I'm gonna come back through, I'm like, okay, we got some missing little skeletons right here. So
Oh, honey. Yes.
okay. Because I'm gonna ask those hard questions. That's I'm when I just tell you I'm your business bestie. So it's all good.
And
Sometimes it might not be, it might not feel good, but we're gonna get through it.
I'm gonna get through it. And as you mentioned, how we're gonna get the product on the shelf and um, what does it look like and all this. I think about when I first started watching YouTube makeup tutorials, and a lot of products. And I'm not gonna apologize. I love makeup. So, and I would look at these different products, and there was one time. This was about 2019, 2020, when makeup companies were, when I say unleashing foundations in like 40, 50,000 shades, because they wanted to cater to the demographic that was then, okay, we can't find our shade. Anyway, it was a whole big. So then these companies sort of start, here, have this. But then a lot of these companies, the packaging looked the same, and there were bloggers who would talk about, well, this package looked like this package. They're trying to copy, blah, blah, high end versus low end, and back and forth, back and forth. So, do you, as part of the research that you have people do you have them look at other similar brands, similar products, and say, okay, how can you make your packaging, your product, again, your everything, just a little different so that it doesn't get um, I'm lost my word,
Basically,
doesn't
how it
confuse.
become unique and things like that.
Yes.
So I would challenge my clients to, to try to be, unique. But then there are some things where it's like, okay, it's going to be the same, For some things, it's functionality. So, you think about like, okay, this certain bottle has to be this size or whatever. There are certain qualifications, specifications that people have to meet in different industries. Don't ask me examples. I just know it just depends, because some things have to be a certain thickness, some things have to be a certain temperature, and all that stuff. Um, but if your design messes with the integrity of the product, then I would say don't take that risk.
Okay.
Um, and so what I would do is I would say, I would tell them, yes, compare with other companies and other products and things. But if you're looking to do similar, I ask that question of why, what about that makes you want to be similar? And then what can you do differently that's going to, set yourself apart from that? So think about in the food industry, it could be a certain sauce, it could be a certain ingredient. You got that Big Mac sauce, Chick-fil-A signature sauce. And so you might sprinkle a little sauce on it. That's your difference. Or your difference might be, I'm gonna put a little B up here, and I'm gonna put a little inspirational quote in the little under the lid. I don't know what that looks like, but and so it goes to, again, are you solving a problem, and then also what makes you unique and what makes their product unique. Some things are just going to be similar.
Yes.
Bread is bread. It's going to come in a bread bag. We can just change the color.
Okay.
So I try to help to guide that process, that
Okay.
creative process. I don't want to stifle it. Even if in my opinion, I'm like, I don't know, this is a little ugly. Me thinking it's ugly that means nothing. And I might not even tell you if I think it's ugly, because it's not my opinion that I'm trying to do. If I think it's going to harm you in a financial way, then I will say, I don't think that this is going to work, because, I will always try to give a because. But now if you ask my opinion, I'm like, okay, this is my opinion, taking off this consultant hat. This is how I feel about this.
Okay. All right. So I'm looking at again the services tab, and so we I jumped the gun, and so there are people like I want to start a business, and then so there's this tab that's called Business Startup Overview, and then there's this bold section that says Exploring Entrepreneurship. So have you encountered people that I wanted to start a business, I want to be my own boss, but they start talking about their plan, and you're like, I don't think that's right for you. Like your inner self want to say, no, you should not be doing that. But you don't put on your professional hat and say, have you considered something else? No, just
I get what you're saying. Everybody that I meet with is not meant to start a business, and it's not meant for me to tell them that they're not meant to start a business. I guide them to that decision by, let's look at this checklist. Okay, you say I want to get a loan. Okay, so how much is your loan for? They say I want 50,000. Okay, so let's break down where that 50,000 comes in, because we can't just throw a number out there and we don't know why, right? So
okay.
okay, so let's do a whole itemized list of 50,000. Then they come back and say, "Oh, I really only need like 25," or they may
Mm,
say, "Oh, I need like 100,000." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why we itemize, and let's break down this whole list and let's be realistic." Um, Now, also, we'll talk about what it entails, and so that's why in that business plan we'll talk about operations. I said, okay, so what are your hours? Okay, well,
okay.
my hours are this, this, and this. Okay, so what happens in the event that if you have children and your child is sick? Oh, well, I'll just close. Oh, you're gonna close because you just said your hours were this. So who's gonna be your sub? Who's gonna be the person to step in? What is your contingency plan? Girl, I hadn't thought about a contingency plan. I'm like, I know. That's why we're having this conversation.
Mm,
Or um, thinking about, okay, so if your product a seasonal product, you may have a strawberry or some type of fruit that is part of your recipe. Okay, if that product is seasonal and you know that strawberries are scarce at a certain time of year or whatever, insert whatever fruit you're needing, it's
mm-hmm.
scarce. What are you gonna do in the downtime when it's the cost has gone so far up that you can't afford to keep producing that product at the same cost, or when it's not even available? Do you get creative? Do you have a holiday sale? Do we take a step back and say, okay, let's add another line of revenue. Let's add another revenue stream at this time of year because I know that A, B, C, D happens.
Okay.
Look at the Halloween stores. They just pop up when it's Halloween time. They're not just sitting around at all year round. What else are they doing? So this is an example. I don't know anybody personally, but they may have a fireworks stand. Okay, might not be selling fireworks year round, or the sales don't go the same year round. So now let's start diversifying our revenue streams. And so we work with more than just people who want to start a business. We may work with existing businesses who they're like, you know what, I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm ready to level up.
Okay.
And I'm saying, what does that level up look like? Does that mean you're opening a new location? Does it mean you're trying to start another product line? Are you trying to hire more people? Are you trying to take it overseas and start exporting? So
Oh,
that conversation is always, what are you looking to do? What are you looking to accomplish? Now let's figure out those steps to take to actually achieve that.
okay.
So yeah, I won't say no, it's not your time to start a business. I let them come to the conclusion. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna put this on the back burner for about 6 months and I'm gonna save some money, or let me think about this because things happen. Some people have, family issues where they're like, you know what? I need to get back with you in a few months. And I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna be like, I knew you wasn't ready in the first place. I'm not gonna have that conversation.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
nice.
Okay. Now, we talked. I asked you earlier about the focus group,
Mhm.
and how we need to be not so biased in who we choose to review our products. And I want to talk about that from a perspective of some people go into business or have this idea I want to go into business thinking I have an instant pocket of customers because of the people that are around me. Can you pop that bubble? Just
Everybody that's your friend and family is not gonna be your customer, you know. Um, and so I when I say pop that bubble, yes, everybody they can gas you up, so to speak, but also if they're not your target audience, then don't get disappointed when they don't patronize your product or your business.
yes,
Because because we've had this, if we went through the process of okay, my target audience is this, and that. If your family supports it, that's great. If they don't, let them be your family. It's okay because cousin so and so's product, you didn't want to support that either. Cause so we just gonna like that's good product. I donate. So we have the same mentality. Like I said, keep that same energy when your own business comes out. You can don't think that your family and friends have to be your main customer because that's not realistic.
okay. So let's talk about also giving away product or services, like undercutting yourself, giving away for free, um, just sticking to your guns. Like,
Mhm.
uh, how do you, or do you advise people on how to balance sample versus full size versus, complete service and how to, balance all of that?
So sometimes it necessitates giving away product or discounting product. And I say that with a caveat of that can be part of your marketing budget. And so sometimes we know if you have, for example, an influencer or someone who's prominent in the community that you're wanting to actually review your product, companies give that product away all the time. Or they say, here's a discount code that you can use, or can share with your followers, whoever want to get this product, But think about the exposure that your company is getting by that person reviewing your product or buying your product. Um, sometimes, how they say, sometimes you got to pay to play.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to give. Sometimes you have to give away free product to the for a partnership or a sponsorship.
Okay.
Um, and so you're thinking about, man, that product cost me $20, but if I'm able to give this away as a giveaway, and my name is now on that booklet or conference brochure or conference website, or that marquee that's scrolling, then it's like that $20 was worth way more than what I spent. So that product is nothing compared to the amount of people, the amount of exposure that I'm able to have. Thinking about different sporting events and things like that. Do you know how much that might cost to put that logo on that person's jersey?
Oh, wait,
So,
honey.
and so and the thing is like, am I hurting for that? Because I'm like, I need everybody to see this logo on my jersey. So yes, I'm going to pay that. Now, sometimes people say I just can't afford it, and then, you know what? That's okay. Just come back when you can afford it.
Okay.
Sometimes you may have different causes that you want to give to, or a nonprofit. You may want to partner with a nonprofit and say, hey, I'd like to donate this, and this, based off of this is what I believe. This is a personal journey that I'm on, or this is a personal issue that I dealt with. And so I feel dearly about this. I would like to donate this many waters with my logo or label on it. Because I'm always giving ideas and saying, okay, let's think smart now. Like, are they going to use your logo? Or do they, because it's okay to donate, but also having that conscious mind in the back of your mind. But also, it's okay to be philanthropic and give something for free sometimes. But also, don't cut your bottom line, because I'm always talking about P&L, profit and loss. At the end
Okay.
of the month, I'm looking at it, okay, did you make some money? Because if you didn't, we need to relook at this. Stop giving stuff away,
Yeah.
or need to cut back on some stuff. We can't buy this $500 ad, So that's why it's always important. Always looking at your numbers, looking at that budget. When people say when we reach out to people in like organizations and things, we say, hey, do you mind donating this, that? And they say, well, that's not in my advertising budget. In our head, we thinking, now doggone well, you got some money, but it may not necessarily be in their
Yeah.
budget. They're just being fiscally responsible, or they're just not telling you what they don't.
Yeah, that.
That's
Yes,
another
ma'am.
conversation to have. But
Okay.
be
Yes,
responsible with
ma'am.
your money, and you can be philanthropic if that's part of your mission as well. So,
Okay. I want to talk about businesses without a tangible product, and not to get too deep into mine because everything is not fully in place. Um, so one thing I have learned is to set up a deposit like requirement based on what I do, because I don't have I'm not giving you something until the job is done. But however, you're going to pay me up front a little bit for my time and expertise
mm-hmm,
in this field because I know that I'm capable of doing what you ask in a certain time frame that we agreed upon. So, would you, in cases like that, would you suggest that individuals have a contract or invoice, something set in place, so that there is a paper trail of agreement,
mm-hmm.
um, between the customer and the service provider?
Yeah, I do. For one, when you're dealing with businesses that are service based, and there are not any tangible products, definitely you can still, for one, they want to know what they're getting out of it and how much it's going to be. And for you, it just holds all of us, it holds you accountable and it holds your client and customer accountable. And so you're saying, okay, this is what we agreed upon. You're going to get A, B, and C, D. Here's the invoice. This is how much it costs. This is the deposit. This is when it's due. It's just a written agreement for, this is how much and this is what's going to happen. Um, when we need a lawyer, and that's a service-based industry, what they going to do? They're going to tell us this is how much it's going to cost. And you know
Yes,
what? We're going and when you need a lawyer, honey, you're going to pay that. You're like, okay,
exactly.
well, just tell me how much it costs. Write it down. Let me go pray over it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the same thing with your business, that's a level of professionalism that you should want to institute, and then you should require that of your customers. And once you start putting that into practice at the beginning, then it will just become normal, And so these are standards. It's a standard that you want to set at the beginning. And if people say, "Well, this is not how I operate," well, this may not be the relationship for us. For
Okay.
like it's okay. Sometimes we're afraid to turn down people, but your standard is your standard. And so whenever they are ready to to meet your requirement as far as a deposit or thing like that, then we can have that conversation. That okay, I'm ready when you are.
Alrighty. And so I'm still looking at the startup page, and there are some more things that people need to consider, like when you're starting a business. And trust me, it took me a while to learn about the LLC versus the corporation versus this versus, oh my God, like it was a lot. And I was still, even though I had the information and somebody actually walked me through a part of it, I was still unsure myself. Like, okay, do I click this? What do I put in this box? And
Yeah.
yes. So there's your license and permits, especially if you're selling certain products, especially food. You have to have a permit.
Yes.
You got to have a license for certain things. I went to cosmetology school in Arkansas. You have to have a license to perform any type of cosmetology related service, whether it's an esthetician, a nail technician, hairdresser, barber. You got to have a license, and of course, there's other businesses on the doctors and things like that. But anyway, entrepreneurs, when it comes to that, yes. So I can tell you all day about the cosmetology world, but you have to have license and permits, taxes. Woo,
Mm-hmm.
honey. God, that one is like you don't want to think about it, but it's like, okay, you're making all this money now.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Sam is like,
Yes. Uncle Sam gonna get his money voluntarily or involuntarily.
you got to pay. Now this is you got to pay to play
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Legal structures.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can please expand on this. One thing I've noticed on a lot of websites, a lot of business sites, there is this legal language about return policies and exchanging, and then basically there's these policies and things that exempts the company from certain things and puts the responsibility on the customer, but they give it to you, terms and agreement,
Mhm.
they give you that up front for a reason. So can you kind of go into that a little bit?
So I'm going to do my business consultant speech and say that I am not a licensed attorney,
Okay.
um, and I am not a CPA. So I will say that yes, those things are put in place to protect the company, and I would defer them to their attorney, especially when it's something that can get you in a lot of trouble. It is, whatever that industry could be. So um, I would always say, make sure that whatever language that you're using, that if there's an agreement that you have to make, to have your attorney to review that. People are so afraid of talking to attorneys and lawyers for some reason, but I'm like, that could be your best friend when you're starting a business. Please, please put aside money to at least pay them for a consultation, to
Okay.
to talk about, here's what. And also copywriting, that's a big thing. We've
Yeah.
had businesses who have started and they receive cease and desist letters because they are copyright infringing. Just because Arkansas says you can have this name doesn't mean that this name isn't used somewhere else. This is a big conversation we've been having at our meeting this week, and it's like, cover yourself. Do the work, save your money, or pay the money to find out, to make sure that your name is copyrighted, or that it's not copyrighted by someone else. So
Okay.
because that can be expensive now. Because that goes back to that logo and branding. We spend all this time and getting cute and all that stuff. And it's like, child, your name is taken by somebody else who's already making multi-million dollars. They can send you this little letter and it's nothing to them.
Yes,
So that's one of those. Protect yourself legally.
okay.
Please.
Um, and y'all, that's really kind of inexpensive because when I was working on my poetry books, and even just getting the book copyrighted, that was less than $100 at that time, which some years ago. But I can't imagine that getting a logo was that much more expensive,
Mm-hmm.
But there's other costs for other paperwork still. But when I tell you it's worth it in the beginning,
Oh yeah.
it's worth it.
And
And
then
then
yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
go ahead.
It doesn't feel good when somebody takes your stuff and start making more money than you, and then that's when you like, hold up now. How you doing better than me? And that's my brainchild.
Yeah,
So let's look at it from that other standpoint as well. Yeah, you're protecting yourself, and just in case you're, don't want to copy somebody else. But if somebody copies you and you're not protected, oh, that's a hurt feeling.
look, my feelings were hurt, and this wasn't even my business. Like, so I had this name called Amethyst Rose because I wanted to do a particular thing under that name. Well, of course, I like to Google first, and then I go to Instagram. I go to all the social medias to
Mm-hmm.
see, okay, is how popular is this name already, and what type of products and services they offer. And when I tell you, now, mind you, I had already kind of created this little idea of a logo, and the name and the font and all that. Font matters as well, y'all. Font matters. And then so I'm looking on Instagram and like, no. I'm like,
And
no.
search is free.
Like their name, and then the flower they had, the
Oh,
look of everything, the
oh
crystals
man.
and the rose. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So back to the drawing board I went. So
Mhm.
anyway, I just want to give y'all that little personal experience. How
Mhm.
you look, do your due diligence and research.
Oh,
Research.
yeah. Save yourself some time and heartache.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so then there's funding, business planning, home-based businesses. That's, I'm sure, a whole other discussion compared to brick and mortar businesses or leasing, place. Do's and don'ts of starting a business, and then frequently asked questions. So, do you yourself a service, y'all out there, whoever listening and watching, go to this website. I'm going to make sure to post it before we get off of here, so you can find the website. go through all the tabs, do all the things, take all the notes, click all the, do all that.
And
And
our
then call
services are
Candace.
free. Yeah, our services are free, y'all. So this is something that is available to anyone. You know,
Okay.
if you're in Arkansas, the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Center, we have 10 centers across the state of Arkansas. So if you're not in, because I cover 10 counties in Northeast Arkansas, but if you're not in my area, I still have someone I can refer you to because we cover the entire state of Arkansas. And also there are SBDCs across the United States. So if you ever move to another state, we still got you. We got you covered.
Okay.
So,
Look,
there's
I'm
assistance out there.
So yeah, look, y'all can't be free. Okay, come
I
on.
know, right? You
Can't
can
be
try.
free. Like we should have led with that and said, okay,
I
look.
know it's free. Sorry.
Because I know people are like, well, how much it costs for all these services? And
Yeah, yeah.
look,
Okay, now
this
I'm sorry. I gotta say this. The consulting is free.
okay.
Now, when we talk about technical services, as far as like, okay, I want to get a website built, we don't do that for you. Okay,
Okay.
so that's not free because you got to pay for your own website.
Oh yeah.
We have resources and referral partners that we can send you to get those different services. But yeah, different things like that. That's not free, but
Okay.
we can do that.
And trust me, y'all, some things are worth paying for or
Mhm.
paying somebody for. Um, goes back to your budget. What are you willing to spend, and what how are you going to do this thing? I will say that as a consumer of a variety of products, mainly jewelry and makeup, um, I look for websites. I mean, Instagram pages are great, but I like to go to an actual website. I'm always looking for links to go to a website so that I can see everything in a bigger picture, and place the order there versus through Instagram. But I mean, to each his own, but that's just my preference. So take that in consideration.
Mhm.
There are some lower cost website, tools out there. Pick something that works for you until you get your money up, and then pay for something a little more
Mhm.
advanced. So, or maybe hire someone to be your webmaster.
Mhm.
Anyway, choice is yours. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to one of my favorite. All this is good, great information, but being ladies, women in business,
Mhm.
like how much is it needed? How much is it appreciated? What statistics are showing? Just whatever you can give us right now about women in business and how is it growing?
So the numbers of women starting businesses is has grown exponentially over the past 5 years.
Okay.
Um, but also, a lot of women-owned businesses are closing at a fast rate, especially Black-owned businesses.
Oh no.
One is because of the access to capital, access to resources, and so that is an alarming um, fact, but also looking at what is the root cause of it. And I always love to have these conversations about, okay, why are we, for one, we're opening at a fast rate, but then we're also closing at a fast rate. So and it boils down to, okay, I didn't know this, or I didn't know that, but or I didn't have access to this.
Okay.
Well, we have gotten better. I would say collectively, there's more resources out there, and things for you to keep your business in business, so to speak. And so, one thing I would say is, for one, it's a mindset. Not everybody, but I would say for a lot of people, it's for one, change of mindset. Don't have that, that woe is me. I don't have. Okay, we get that. Cool. It's out there. We know we got low access, but what is available to me? What can I do? How can I access that? Who can I talk to? What can I say? What can I do? And so I don't like to harp on like, oh, the statistics are looking bad. That's good. That's the fact. But the issue is, okay, now what do I do for that? For me, from a business consulting standpoint, is I'm like, let me put you onto this game, sis. Come to this free workshop. Come to
Okay.
this event. Apply for this grant. Talk to this person. It's about being a connector. And so also it's about collaborating. And that's one thing that we talk about in Over a Cup is how can we tap into the strengths of our fellow business owners? What is it that you need that I can contribute from my standpoint, or how can we partner on this? Or, we got to think outside the box. It's time to get off of the sidelines and
Okay.
do the game, call the plays, run the plays. It's time to do this thing. Um, so yes, I love talking about women-owned businesses all day long. And so it's like, okay, it's not going to look the same. It's not going to be the traditional, this is how business is run. Sometimes we have to think outside the box. It's not going to look the same way it's always looked, and that's okay. As long as we're doing things legally and that we are making sure that we are still on top of our game and we're still having our priorities together, because we have different priorities.
Yes.
You might be in a relationship, you might be a wife, you might have children, you might have so many other responsibilities that sometimes our male counterparts don't have. And so, okay, I'm having a child care issue. All right, well, let me see what child care business can one I start, or what child
Okay.
care business can I partner with that's going to have these after hours or drop in hours so that my business can thrive. And so,
Wow.
how can I exchange services with you? From the beginning, is I might not have the money to pay for a full-time childcare, but I know that I have a degree in graphic design. This is an example. I don't have a degree, but I might say, okay, I have a degree in graphic design. Let me design some of your, do some caricatures for your children, and let me create a coloring book for your center, and let's exchange these services. So I'll create this coloring book that now
Okay.
you can use as a fundraiser, and so this is how much I would charge for this service, and so now can you watch my child for this amount? so,
Okay.
so
Okay.
So for me, I'll brainstorm with you all day about like, okay, look, we gotta get creative, okay? Because um, we don't have time for this. We don't have
Yes.
time to be going in business to go out of business. Who wants to do that?
Yes, ma'am. And I love that statement because I think about, and I know I've never been to Africa, never trapped, never, I don't know anyone personally in the tribe situation, but I do a lot of reading. I watch documentaries and things of that nature. And I look at how they take care of each other. Um, like you said, one person may have this business, they may do this one thing, another person may babysit while, and they interchange services.
Hmm.
And I feel that we can develop that mindset and
Hmm.
we can do that for each other. Now, should it be a long term, every day, all day thing? Of course not. Somebody want to make some money somewhere down the line, but in the beginning stages, why not help out each other,
Hmm.
in the best way that we can, especially a brand new mom.
Yeah.
And then why should women, this is not going to turn into one conversation, however, why should women have to give up what they desire simply because they want and choose to be a wife and a mother? You
Hmm.
know, they want to have a career as well, job, so we're not going to go down that path. I'm sorry. But don't get me started. Don't get me started. But I want to share, one a positive note. And again, I love cosmetics, so I follow these kind of stories. So the owner of the Lip Bar, her name is Melissa Butler. She once went on Shark Tank, and this article was written February 2022, but she went on Shark Tank about 2019, and so she was rejected. They didn't understand, her product, and she had these really bright colors, and they're like, no one's gonna wear that. And so now she has a very booming business in Detroit. I watched another video series she put out of herself and how she was building up her storefront and where it was located in a nice neighborhood, like downtown or wherever it is. And so even though she got rejected on one hand by people who probably were not her target audience to begin with,
Hmm.
um, she used that as fuel and as motivation
Hmm.
to continue on. She founded her business about 10 years ago, and of course, things have been slow. But as of February, when this article came out, it says she sold 2 million units of products, and so she's gone from lipstick, which is a matte. lip color, and then um, now she has foundation. She has other products on in her lineup, and so I said all that to say someone may turn you down, turn their nose up at you, think,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, that's a stupid idea. Nobody's gonna buy that. Nobody's gonna."
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. Like you mentioned before, use that rejection as motivation
Mm-hmm.
to keep going. And I'm sure so many other people have similar stories. Now I used to be one of those, I'm gonna stick to my plain on red and burgundy lipstick, but now look, I have a whole bag full of pink and purple and green and yellow, all this
Yeah,
color.
I love the makeup. Listen, I wish I had a love for makeup the way that girl, for me, I just don't have time. But you know what? That's okay. I do it when I do
Yes, yeah,
it.
yes. But like you do what you do was best for you, and everyone, you're not shouldn't be expected to follow it.
Right.
I want to say this to women in particular: don't stop comparing yourself. Like I used to compare myself. I don't speak this way. I don't look this way. I don't stop.
Yeah.
That we are our own worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
um, and let's start looking to each other like, okay, how does she do that? Let's ask questions of each other. How
Yeah.
did she do that? How did you do that? How did you get to where you are? And
And compliment each other.
uh,
Even when it comes to business, girl, that was a great promotion you did for breast cancer awareness. Like that was a great idea. I would love to collaborate with you in the future on this, or how can I contribute? Stretch that muscle of practicing being nice. Being positive. There's always something nice you can say. I think that in the world of social media these days, everybody's so much ugliness. Just say something nice.
yes,
And if you can't, shut up. I know shut up is not a nice word, but sometimes you want to tell people to shut up.
girl, look, let me tell you, I do a couple live shows on YouTube, and there are times people come through and I'm like, you could have just sat there, ate your food, and be quiet.
I
And
know.
just,
They just want to be heard. They just want to be heard, girl. Well, you know what?
oh God.
You know what? I hear you. Or I see you. That's it.
Yes, I see. And then, okay, going back to marketing, kind of going back a little bit.
Hmm.
Okay, you may not have a lot of money to support your friend or
Hmm.
a product you like, but that share button is free.
Oh, yes.
Share
The
is free
share
all day.
and introducing someone and that can help that business. If you know someone who builds websites or someone who's trying to get off the ground, a photographer who's like, hey, I just need some content. Well, have you met my friend Kabila, because she's trying to get some content going and she needs some pictures. Here we go. So it's like practice being a connector.
Yes. And I've been told by a particular a common friend who had that she's like, you should make that a business. And then I never thought about that. And I don't at this point I don't know how to make that a business, but
Girl, let's
I
talk. I'll give you ideas for days. I will gas you up so much.
but I
but,
do
but in
feel like
practicality.
I do feel like I'm the queen of ideas. Like as people are talking, I have ideas for other people, and then
Yeah.
I have this thing where, oh, you and such should meet,
Mhm.
because you share similar
Yeah.
attributes,
Mhm.
and I've connected a few people that way,
Yeah,
and so it's turned out great.
and it feels
So
good, doesn't it?
yes,
You'll get payback for that in a good way.
yes, I hope so. God, please, no, but I do say that with whatever I'm doing, whether it's the podcast, whether I'm on a TV show,
Mhm.
radio show, whatever God gives me, I want to be impactful. Um, so I want to just put that out there for anyone that's starting a business. It's one thing to earn capital. Like, yes, of course I want money, but like, what is your underlying why of why you want to start your business? Like, what more do you want to do besides just sell a product?
Mhm.
And maybe I don't know if you go into something like that. I know that's kind of more spiritual and versus just straight capital.
I let the
Uh,
conversation flow. I
okay.
will, I will say that. And so sometimes people want to get spiritual. I will go there with you. Um, I'll pray for people. So wherever that leads, I use discernment. I would say that. So yeah, of course, I'm a very religious person. I would say that, my faith is very important in how I govern myself.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to put the website on the screen. ASBTDC. I have to look at it multiple times to make sure that
I know, girl. The alphabet. That's what people say is the alphabet.
But I want to mention one last thing before we wrap up the event, y'all. Look, there's so many events, some online, some in person. But look, there's something for everybody
Mm-hmm.
out there. And as of this date, well, I don't know when you're going to watch this, whoever, October 17th is the first one that's on the calendar. And it is like literally almost every day. There's a gap here and there, but almost every day there's something. And
Mm-hmm.
there's something for everybody. Marketing boot camp, women in business panel, marketing your small business, protect your business from fraud. Oh, that's a good one. Wow, like, okay.
Yeah.
Um, you need a website for your small business, what to know to do, what to know and do. Like business in Arkansas, starting business in Arkansas, holiday sales. You mentioned that before. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look, there's so much. So y'all just go ahead, follow, click, we can't click that link. Go to that website and do all the things, click all the links and have fun. And if you're serious about starting a business, again, it can be fun or it can be one of those litmus tests to see if you really want to start a business. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. So Mrs. Candace, look, I have had a blast. I'm sorry if I'm talking too.
No, I love it. I love to laugh. So I absolutely love it. I love talking about business and women and everything. I love it. So this has been great. I've enjoyed it.
And so I just want to give you the space to share any final words. I'm gonna say words of encouragement, like we're in church. Some words, uh, you know, um, any messages you want to leave the people, and anything you want to say.
Well, I just want to say that if you're looking to start a business, don't be discouraged by everything that we talked about as far as the steps and the things you have to take. Just know that you have people that are here and ready and available and have resources that are going to help you to get on that journey. It's definitely a journey where you are going to have to be the one to take the reins on that. And so, even if you just like, I want to talk through this idea, come to us. Or I don't want to start from scratch, but if there's a franchise that I'm interested in, we can assist with that too. We assist people with buying franchises. So um, anything related to business, if we don't have the answer, we will get it for you, or we have a resource partner that we can refer you to. So don't let that stop you, and don't feel like you're inadequate, because sometimes you're smarter than you think you are, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and we don't all have the answers, and so we're willing to help you to get to where you need to be, and we'll do it together.
Alrighty. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining me, and hopefully this won't be our last conversation.
No.
We maybe can talk about some more. Well, we'll definitely talk about some more business things, like go into more detail when it
Yeah.
comes to creating a business plan, marketing. But
Mhm.
right now, I just really want to scratch the surface and let people know what's available for them. So hopefully your phones will start ringing off the hook or your email or something. We need to get all everybody sent your way or to your office or whatever part of
Yeah.
Arkansas they live in.
Mhm.
And and then I just want to thank everybody for joining the Q Spot podcast. If you would like to support or be a guest in any way, you can email me at the Q Spot, QSJ at gmail.com. Um, yeah, so I'll be happy to hear from you. I want to thank you all. And in parting, I want to say don't forget to be intentional with your words, your thoughts, and your actions. Y'all have a great day. Bye. Thank you for watching the Q Spot podcast video series. Don't forget to join the Q crew so you don't miss a beat. Follow, like, and share on all of my social media platforms as well as the major podcast platforms. Lastly, be intentional with your words, your thoughts, and your actions.